Unplugged Army, it's time to register for the LPGA Ford Championship at Whirlwind Golf Club. Go to FordChampionship.com and you can either buy tickets, or an even better deal would be to volunteer. This is the biggest event on the calendar, calling all generals and really anybody that's even a private in the Unplugged Army. Please volunteer for the 2026 LPGA Ford Championship at Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass, and help the world to feel the wind.
Thanks for listening, Unplugged Army. I'm Louis Unga, General Manager at Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass. We're proud to present Doug Franz Unplugged.
Form an offense.
Form an offense.
4 minutes.
Form an offense. Form an offense.
Everything you need to know in sports that affects Maricopa County, the state of Arizona, and the world, you get in 4 minutes. We start things off in the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community. Diamondbacks starting pitcher Merrill Kelly was named the opening day starter. Diamondbacks pitcher Merrill Kelly will not be the opening day starter, as he has been ruled out because of an intercostal nerve irritation. That's what's been diagnosed as his back issue, but an MRI and a CT scan show no structural damage. As of right now, there is no timetable for his return, but Torey Lovello optimistically believes he will not have to be put on the injured list. That's a bad antecedent because, of course, Torey Lovello knows he won't be put on the injured list, but he was talking about Merrill Kelly. The good news, Zach Gallen looked absolutely fantastic in his one inning of work. He shut down the LA Dodgers, but the Dodgers came back on other pitchers and won 10-7. Perdomo went 1 for 3. Tavo was 2 for 3 with a walk. Nolan Arenado continued his hot streak. He was 1 for 2 with an RBI double. Up next, Diamondbacks are home today. They take on the Royals at Salt River, 1 o'clock. Grand Canyon a winner 80-67 against UNLV. Out-rebounded the Rebels 41-27. Made 9 more free throws than UNLV did. And outshot them 53-40%. Mostly behind Jaden Henley, who went for 28 on only 14 shots, and he had 11 boards. Up next, toughest test in the conference. The 5th place Lopes go to Utah State, who's in first place in the Mountain West and 23-4 overall. Tip-off Saturday night. NFL Combine, Indianapolis. The man's name is David Bailey.
I have met with the Arizona Cardinals, also really another great meeting. And just to go top 3, I mean, similar to what somebody else said, like top 2, top 3, top 10, first 2 rounds, it doesn't really matter, man. Like, this is just a super cool opportunity. Looking back, I don't know if I ever thought I was going to be here, so I'm just super blessed and grateful to be here.
The man graduated from Stanford in 3 years. Yes, please. Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Suns, made an appearance on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN and said something interesting. He wants to put up $1 million for both the slam dunk contest winner and the three-point shooting contest winner in order to get more stars to participate. There's just one catch. That is a violation of the CBA, but it sounds like he's going to fight for it anyway. The news on the court that you probably expected: Booker, Brooks, Goodwin, all out for tonight's game. Lakers are here. Suns take on LA tonight, downtown. Tip-off, 7 o'clock. Scores last night. Every team you didn't want to win won. Golden State beat Memphis. Houston was all over Sacramento, and Denver beat Boston. So now your Western Conference standings as it relates to the Suns. Houston and Denver tied for the 3 seed. Minnesota is 1 game back of that tie. Lakers are 1 game back of Minnesota. Then it's the Suns in 7th place. That's the number 1 play-in tournament spot. They're 2 games behind the Lakers to get out of the play-in tournament, but they're only 2 games ahead of Golden State to avoid going on the road for the first game of the play-in tournament. Games that matter today, other than, of course, Suns-Lakers: Houston's at Orlando at 5:30, and Minnesota is at the Clippers at 8. Even though you might be listening in the morning, 1 round of action is already over today. The first round of the HSBC Women's World Championship in Singapore is complete, and Austin Kim shot a 6 under 66 to take the lead after round 1. The men are in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida to start the Cognizant Classic today at 4 in the morning. And finally, meet Sean McDermott of Pocono Pines, Pennsylvania. Sean has a little bit of a spider problem inside his townhome, so he decided to set them on fire, which he succeeded in doing, and setting the townhome on fire. Normally, I don't laugh at fires, but come on. When you're this stupid, Investigators say that a witness identified Sean as the arsonist. He told the witness that he was trying to kill spiders. McDermott actually had a fire burning on the floor. No, a small one, but still the floor of the townhome. Then the idiot put his love seat on top of the fire. The witness said he kept trying to extinguish the fires, but then McDermott would continue to relight it. Both men left the area, but then when they returned, his townhome was engulfed by flames because the love seat had caught fire. So Sean does what any arsonist does. He gets in his U-Haul truck and drives away. If you have any information, please contact the Pocono Mountain Regional Police.
Hello, this is General Tom. I love Bell's Nashville Kitchen because they support Doug Franz. They were the original sponsor, and I relish the podcast that I give each day almost as much as their fries.
Bell's Nashville Kitchen on Main Street in Old Town Scottsdale.
You found home, down home.
Hi, I'm Angie with Penny Royal Promotions. We decorate blank apparel, screen printing, embroidery, direct to film. Also, we provide promotional products, offset printing, tents, canopies, banners, business cards, anything you can put a logo on. Okay, Unplugged Army, if you own a business, you have an upcoming event, a charity function, golf tournament, we're the official provider of the Unplugged Army. Ask for Angie. I'm this year's Euchre champion.
I don't know about you, but I can almost taste the A Mountain Amber Ale, as this is a big time beer Friday. To just get to this weekend after all the running around I've been doing, I don't know about you, but I'm ready, and we are almost there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever it is that you've decided to make Doug Franz Unplugged a part of your day, my family greatly appreciates it. My name is Doug Franz, and you have found the only podcast in the world totally devoted to the coverage of the 4 major sports franchises of one great American city that drops on your phone each and every weekday morning. We also cover ASU, U of A, GCU, the Rattlers, the Rising, and the Merc. This is Doug Franz Unplugged, presented by Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass. How are you? I don't know what happened today, but I'm really good. I'm really good. Something happened. Of course, I think you know me well enough to know that I kind of believe it was somewhat religious, but something happened. But I just feel a lot better. I feel a lot better. I have been hardcore driving forward, making myself silly lately, trying to become where I think the podcast needs to go. Maybe, I believe that the best move for the show is to get with a television station, either CBS 5 or 12 News or something else. And or maybe even a PHNX or somebody. And all of a sudden it just hit me today how well we're doing. How well we're doing. And I don't know what it is. I just you know what? I have not stopped and smelled the roses enough of where we are. Because I admit I'm the type of person that always wants more. I don't think I do it in a greedy way, but maybe I do. But I do it in a way of why ever stop? I'm that type of person. Why stop? Like Kenny Dillingham will say, compete, compete, compete. And he always hits his hand when he does it. And I kind of the same way. I don't really look at it as compete, 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 but I am kind of competing with myself. I want to be great. And I want to be great for you, but I admit I want to be great for me. I want this thing to explode. I think what we are doing is exactly what this city needs. And therefore, that propels me forward. The vision, the dream. And I keep waiting for somebody else to help me with that dream from a television standpoint. And I need to stop doing that. If it happens, it happens. But the amount of support I've already received from you, you know how many podcasters in the world, how many radio stations, how many TV stations in the world would love to have the relationships I do with Sweet Lou and Tim Hovick. You know, they would love that. And yet we've been able to build that relationship because they are good people and you and I are doing what we need to do to support them. And, you know, just going back to that first time of sitting at Bell's Nashville Kitchen and having Mikey say that he wants to be the first sponsor, and little by little, the way this thing is growing, why am I getting like I get? I don't know. I don't know. And I've got to find a better balance. And that balance is, I'm thrilled with where we are. That's not going to stop me from trying to improve. But I need to spend more time, and I'm going to do this now, making Unplugged great as if TV doesn't exist. As if these opportunities aren't there. Because I'm starting to get the feeling there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about doing something, but not a lot of action. And you know what? Instead of trying to always fight for more action from other people, I need to fight more for what we're doing here. And that's my next goal. So, having said that, I'm going to put a renewed emphasis on the website. So, JT Smack and Alex, let's get back together. Let's do some of the things that you guys have been saying that need done. Vice President, Madam Vice President, we're going to want to buy some different equipment. And I just want you to know, I'm kind of jacked up today to do more. And I have no idea how I'm going to pull this off, but I want to do more for us within the realm of Unplugged, of just simply improving Unplugged. And I think we can do it. I got some ideas. I think we can do it. So thank you for staying with me. So many of you have said so many encouraging things over the years, and it just didn't register because I was like, yeah, thank you, but there's more to be done. And today's one of those days where I kind of finally realized, hey, do what's more to be done. Don't stop. But I think I've been focused on the wrong things. Where I've been focused on a long-term goal instead of just, hey, improve what we can improve now for Unplugged and just stay on Unplugged. Unplugged. Not what Unplugged is to television or what it needs to be for somebody else. Just make this great. And then what that will do is either continually improve this or somebody else will want it more because of what we've done. And where you can help me, number one, first and foremost, it'll never change. Support the sponsors. They are sticking their neck out because what's awesome about our sponsors is they all want this too. I mean, think about AG at AG Kleino. He's you. He's just sitting there wondering, well, I didn't like it that Doug got fired. Oh, wait, I found a podcast. This is nice. Okay, I'll start listening. Oh, wow. I'm learning stuff. I'm entertained. And I'm kind of blown away that it's really as hard as Doug says to start a company, but I'm going to try it too. And all of a sudden there's Goodyear Fit Body Boot Camp. So wherever you are in the scale of weight loss, I realize it's too much to ask if you live in Gilbert or Maricopa to drive over to Goodyear Fit Body Boot Camp. But I do want you to stop and think, hey, I've got a couple appointments on the west side next month. I'm going to finish every appointment and get over there and get like a 1 month package, just something. And if you are on the west side, boom, there you go. Let's go. If keep an eye on every restaurant. Where are you? If you're in Chandler, we got Trophy. You're in Old Town or anywhere in Scottsdale, we got Bell's. You're in Tempe, we got 100 Mile Brewing Company. You're anywhere on the east side, you're going to Burrito Express. You're deep Gilbert. Hey, we got Slice House by Tony Gemignani. We got Wendy's all over. You know, I mean, that's what you do. And dear God, don't choose another heating, cooling, plumbing, and air conditioning company other than Parker & Sons. Okay? Do not get a car somewhere. Well, I understand cars are a little tougher. But when you hear the testimonies of everybody that's in the Unplugged Army that's used Santan Ford, that should talk you into it. And the thing is, their award-winning pre-owned department, I can get them to find the car you're looking for. So you can say, hey, I want something like this, and they'll go find it. And then you have a service department that you trust. So it's things like that. I mean, we're all in this together, but that's number one. Number two, downloads and listens, downloads and listens, downloads and listens. And then pretty soon I want to revamp the website, and I'm going to ask you to get heavily involved in that. It would be really fun to have the website kind of interactive where you as a member of the Unplugged Army are posting videos to my website about your trips to different clients, you know, stuff like that. I don't know. We got a lot to do. There's also the Discord channel. You can go to the Discord channel and get heavily involved, and more people will interact there, continue retweets and reposts of Instagram. Let's kind of get re-engaged, if you don't mind. I didn't mean to start today's show on this because this show is about me getting re-energized, but now that I'm there, let's keep going. And so many of you are already doing it. So I might not even be talking to you. You might be doing a better job than I am. The way General Mike and Staff Sergeant Michael work on my behalf, you know, they're probably doing better than me. So thank you for what you've done, and let's all get re-energized. And let's do that for life too. Just for life in general. You have every right at times in our world to feel sorry for ourselves or to think things aren't going our way, but there's too much that's going right, and we allow the things that are going crappy to swallow us whole. And you know what? You step in crap. You don't swim in it, right? So if you stepped in it in a while, all right, let's clean off our shoes and let's go. But you don't swim in it. It's not that bad. The world isn't that bad that you're swimming in crap. Might be swimming upstream, but it's still water. So let's go, right? Today's the day. Earn your pillow tonight. Wake up tomorrow with a beer Friday, and I'll see you Saturday. I really want to promote heavily Slice House Saturday. I'm going to be there at some point before noon, but I'd like to get there even earlier. And that's in Gilbert, Pecos, Val Vista, and the 202. And then I'm going to leave there and get to Tempe and go to 100 Mile Brewing Company for Pints with Pat. And then I got to get home for the euchre party. So that it's a busy time. And then I don't know how I'm going to watch the entire combine on Sunday. I don't have any idea how I'm going to pull that off, but I got to, because you got to get ready. The only other note you need to know about today's show that's hilarious. Bobby Mack does impressions. Did you know that? If I gave you 1 million guesses of who he's going to do an impression of today, you wouldn't get it. And I could even tell you it's in the genre of racing, and you're not going to get it. But it's highly entertaining. Bobby Mack was on his game today. He was on his game so much it threw me off mine. It was so good. Had a lot of fun. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with me on today's show, and I hope you do. All right, time for Doug's Big One. It's my number one opinion of the day. It's been Biggie-sized by Wendy's. By the Biggie Bites, Biggie Bag, or Biggie Bundle. And with your Biggie, why don't you go for a little bigger and get that new limited time Thin Mint Frosty Fusion. You choose vanilla or chocolate, and you get a Frosty with a Thin Mint swirl and Thin Mint cookies. Let's roll. Doug.
Where's Doug? Here, sorry, Doug. Where you at?
Yeah, was that a plug to unplug right there?
Doug had given me a stat.
Well, I can only answer the questions that get asked of me, Doug.
Obviously, Franz is such a good player.
Doug's Big One. I saw a stat last night that really upset me about James Jones. And listen, James Jones and the decisions that he made got this team within 2 wins of a world championship. That close. 2 wins away from a world champion. Our first ring, right? That a lot of those decisions were James Jones's decisions, so give him credit. But the stat I saw that just alienated me to no end is this one. The Detroit Pistons in the 2023-2024 season had the worst record in the NBA. As of right now, in the 25-26 season, they have the best record in the NBA. They would be the first team to go from worst to first in 2 years since the 1990-92 Atlanta Braves did it. The Braves had the worst record in baseball in 1990. They had the best record in baseball in 1992. The Atlanta Braves from that point forward went to the playoffs from 92 to 2006. An amazing 14 straight years in the playoffs. Here's why I bring that up. They played Oklahoma City last night. And even though Oklahoma City's banged up, it's 2 teams that have been completely built through the draft. James Jones hated the draft, and all he would ever do is mock it. When he'd trade away another first-round pick, he'd say, hey, I'm not going to start scouting 7th grade games. In my opinion, it's one of the dumbest opinions in all of sports to say something like that. To actually think that because a player is in the 7th grade now, when you trade the pick, that the pick is not going to have value when it comes time for that opportunity. The greatest way to acquire talent in both football, basketball, and baseball, and I'm assuming hockey, but I don't know that sport as well, is the draft. And the reason why is the price. It is the most easily controlled commodity in sports, is the price of a draft pick. And if you hit a home run, like a draft pick of a Russell Wilson, what you end up doing is you're barely paying your quarterback, and you don't have to give him the big bucks for years down the road, and you can spend it everywhere else. And you look at a player like Devin Booker, where'd you get him? The draft. Now, how has everybody else done that you've been feeding in? Sure, you can screw it up. Ryan McDonough drafted Devin Booker. Nice job. He's also the same guy that drafted Dragan Bender and Marquise Chris when you had 2 low picks. He's also screwed it up. Drafted DeAndre Ayton instead of Luka Doncic. He's also screwed up the draft, right? But when you look at Oklahoma City and you look at Detroit, that's where we should be. That's how you run a basketball team. And Doug's big one today is just me reiterating how ridiculous it is of what we're seeing and the position this team is in because of the decisions that were made by James Jones, and how much better we would be right now if it wasn't for those decisions. Because we're like, this is all great. This is incredible what they're doing. Be excited. But there's going to be some frustrating and lean times when you see players that could have been Suns being developed by other teams with our draft picks. And that's Doug's big one. Probably drove you nuts going from a wonderful speech to get us started. And then I kind of depress you a little bit with that. But that was a good game last night, Detroit and Oklahoma City. Go to santanford.com, and right now it's going to pop up to you as soon as you see it that it's Ford Truck Month. 0% financing for 60 months, $0 down, 0 payments for 90 days. That's amazing. That's the definition of the time to buy a truck. And you need to do it at Santan Ford, where they've got over 1,000 cars, trucks, and SUVs. So you're going to get the easily the selection that you want, and you're going to get the friends and family discount as a member of the Unplugged Army. If you're not in the market for a new or pre-owned car, truck, SUV, start using Santan for all of your service needs. Just go to mobile service on the website. And once you click on mobile service, it'll take you to a website that explains everything about the Ford mobile service. It gives you a video if you'd rather watch a video, or you just scroll down and click contact us, and it opens up a little questionnaire about your email address so they can contact you, and they'll get in touch with you and they'll schedule it for you. And I recommend highly that you go to 100 Mile Brewing Company or you go to Trophy and you get your oil changed right there. Pretty cool. Santan Ford, 202 in Val Vista. I am Santan Ford. Let's talk Suns. I'm officially worried. I was really confident at the beginning of the season. I told you this team was going to make the playoffs. They're going to lose in the first round. And I thought I was really sticking my neck out by saying that this team is going to get through the play-in tournament, and they're going to advance. I'm still staying with that, but I'm getting a little worried. Let's kind of go over where we are. No Brooks, no Booker. No Goodwin tonight against the Lakers. Team is really struggling rebounding-wise, and we're really struggling to shoot. The team is 33-26 right now, even though that's wonderful compared to what we thought it was going to be. 23 games left. You got to get another, I'm going to say, let's put it at, let's say 12 wins. Okay? Let's get to 45 wins. So you need another 12 wins. So you got to go 12-11. One game above 500 the rest of the way. The schedule, when you look at it from a who are you playing standpoint, pretty good. Let me give you the numbers. I only really care about the seeds 3 through 8 right now in the Western Conference, right? So I told you in 4-minute offense, Houston and Denver tied for the 3 seed. Minnesota is at the 5 seed, 1 game back of the tie. Lakers are the 6 seed, and they're in Phoenix tonight. Lakers are 2 games behind the tie of the 3 seed, 1 game behind Minnesota for the 5, and they are 2 games up on the Suns. So if the Suns want to get out of the play-in tournament, they need to pass the Lakers or Minnesota. Right now, out of the teams I'm talking about, the hardest schedule remaining is Denver. The 3rd hardest schedule remaining in basketball is Minnesota. And they're right now the 5 seed. The 12th hardest schedule remaining is Golden State, and they're 2 games behind the Suns trying to catch us. If they catch the Suns, then Phoenix is no longer the home team in game 1 of the play-in tournament. The way the play-in tournament works, 7 hosts 8. Winner is the 7 seed. Loser either goes to their home to play another game or stays at home to play another game, depending on which number won, and they play the winner of the 9-10 game. That's how that works. So You don't want Golden State to catch you because God forbid you're in the play-in tournament, but at least you want to know that you've got to lose 2 home games to not advance. Think about that. If you're the 7 seed, 2 different teams have to come into your building in a playoff atmosphere and beat you in your building to keep you out of the playoffs. So even though we want that 6 seed, even though we want to get out of the play-in tournament, one thing we don't want to do is in any way drop down to have to be on the road. The other huge advantage it is to become the 6th seed is you look at the teams, Houston, Denver, Minnesota, and the Lakers, that one of those teams will be your opponent if you're the 6th seed. If you fall into the play-in tournament, you're going to see San Antonio or Oklahoma City. If you have any hopes, we don't want to mess with those 2 teams. So back to the numbers. Lakers have the 15th toughest schedule the rest of the way. And the Lakers are the 6th seed, 2 games ahead of the Suns. And the Rockets are tied for the 3 seed. They have the 17th toughest schedule the rest of the way. The Suns are at 21st. So out of all of the teams that I'm talking about that we're in this bunch with, from the 3 seed to the 8 seed, there are 6 teams right now. And we have the easiest schedule, ranked 21st overall. So that's going to make you feel good. The negative of that schedule is it's not sitting, it just doesn't sit well because of the lack of rest can get you. Here's what I mean. You got the Lakers tonight, right? Then we flip the calendar, we go into March. The Suns have a nice break from the Lakers game till their road game in Sacramento coming up on Tuesday. So no games over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They had a full weekend off. But then it's 3 games in 4 days at Sacramento and a back-to-back next week at home against Chicago and New Orleans. Then the Suns will go on a 6-game East Coast swing. In that 6-game East Coast swing, both halves, the first 3 and the last 3 games, are 3 games in 4 nights. The start of the trip is at Milwaukee, day off, at Indiana, at Toronto, back-to-back. Now, I'm not going to try to sell it to you that Indiana and Toronto are world beaters. Toronto's a playoff team. But the problem is when you fly internationally, you got to go through customs. It's not quite as easy of a flight, and you're doing that on the back end of a back-to-back. Then you do get 2 days off after Toronto, and then it's another 3 games in 4 nights, and the travel is brutal. You have a Monday night game in Boston. And I don't know about you, I've never driven over the Massachusetts-Minnesota border. But for some reason, the NBA doesn't know geography, and they think it's close enough to do a back-to-back between Boston and Minnesota when you're probably flying through a snowstorm. So Monday night in Boston, Tuesday night in Minnesota, you get Wednesday off to fly from Minnesota all the way down to San Antonio. And then you finally come home. Brutal. Couple home games. A lot of them winnable home games. One of them is against Denver, however. There's a big showdown. And then you've got another 4-game, mostly East Coast road trip. And another back-to-back on that road trip. At Memphis, at Orlando. Then at Charlotte with rest, and at Chicago with rest. Then a big showdown with Houston, home game against Dallas, and then your last 2 games could be brutal, or you could have the seeding kind of already set at LA on a Friday night against the Lakers and at OKC on a Sunday evening. So I wanted to kind of just set the stage of what we're looking at, and then why I think tonight's game is going to be vitally important. With the standings so tight, I don't know if you know this, there are still divisions in the NBA. The Suns are in the Pacific Division with the Lakers and with Golden State. Why does that matter? The only thing that divisions still do in basketball is they're used in tie-breaking procedures. So if you're in a tiebreaker, head-to-head's number one. But then after that, it's your divisional record if you're in a tie with a team in your division. And let's say the Suns are in a tie with the Lakers and the T-Wolves. Well, the T-Wolves aren't in the Suns division, but since the Lakers are, you've got to break the Suns-Lakers tie. So even if the Suns have the tiebreaker with Minnesota, they would lose the tiebreaker to a team in their division. And that ain't a good thing. So the Suns need to, this game is really important from that standpoint. They've got 2 games remaining with the Lakers. They have already beaten the Lakers once in LA, but then they've lost to the Lakers at home, and they play the Lakers 4 times. So they've got to win one of these 2 games against the Lakers. And hopefully everybody will be healthy for the game at LA on Friday the 10th. But boy, would it be nice to lock up at least a guaranteed tie with the Lakers right now. So that's tonight's game on why tonight's game is pretty huge, even though there's no way in the world I would pick the Suns to win with the injuries that they've got going on. And then, of course, you've really got to make sure that you win as many divisional games as you can on the way out. And just so you know, they finished 1-3 against Golden State. So if the Warriors do catch them in a tie, you're going to need to have another team in the division in that tie. It's almost like you need a Golden State and Lakers 3-way tie, and then make sure that you beat the Lakers in the next 2 games, because Golden State has already beat you. Golden State's 3-1 against the Suns. So if the Suns can go 3-1 against the Lakers, well, then you can use the division tiebreaker. Would be the only way the Suns can beat Golden State in a tiebreaker. Did that make sense? Suns lose a 2-team tiebreaker with Golden State, but if they win out against the Lakers, they might win a 3-way tie with the Lakers and Golden State. So you've already kind of screwed that up. So obviously the easiest way to win a tiebreaker is not be in one. Make sure that you stay above Golden State and keep them in the 8th seed. That's just some of the stuff I wanted to talk to you about Suns, so you're a little more informed going into tonight's game and how big it truly is.
The official diagnosis is an intercostal nerve irritation.
Siri, what is an intercostal? What was that?
An intercostal nerve irritation.
So what is an intercostal nerve irritation?
Intercostal neuralgia is a painful condition involving the area just under the ribs. It can cause pain in the chest, ribs, and upper back.
Okay, this doesn't sound great, and here's why. You do a CAT scan and you do the MRIs, and then the major goal here is then to figure out what's going on in Merrill Kelly's back. So Merrill Kelly is throwing a live BP, gets gripped by pretty strong back pain. Now he's out. Now we get this diagnosis, and in order to build him back up, there's no way he's going to be ready by opening day. But the problem is there hasn't been a report, and maybe the Diamondbacks know and they're not saying, but there has not been a report that said this is the cause of the intercostal neuralgia. Because the pain is like the symptom. It's like, okay, since you have this, you have it for a reason. But they don't know the reason. In my reading about it, and granted, this is just me being a Wikipedia doctor. In my reading about it, it could be caused from anything from a tumor that's pushing on the nerves of the rib cage, kind of the nerves inside, not inside, but that goes between the ribs, or simply, as simple as it sounds, it's a muscle strain in the back that is now causing inflammation, and that inflammation is pushing on the nerves. I mean, sometimes you can have terrible, terrible pain, but the pain is actually something as simple as you've got a lot of inflammation and the nerve doesn't have any room. So your nerve is getting pinched by the inflammation of everything around the nerve. The nerve's fine, the muscle isn't, and it's swelling due to inflammation, and the nerve can't get anywhere else but be pinched by the muscles around it. So if we don't know why there's inflammation, or we don't know why there's the pinching of the nerves, then you can't treat what's wrong, which means it's not going to go away. Unless it's just, you just need rest. If it's just a muscle strain or something that's then pulling on something, you just got to rest it and figure it out. Hopefully maybe another MRI in a week or something like that. They're trying to make this out to be good. And granted, out of everything it could be, it's really not that bad. But the problem is they don't know why it's happening. And if you don't know why, you can't really treat it, which makes timelines, pretty irrelevant. Here is the full press conference of, not full, but here's the entire exchange between Torey Lovello and the media as it relates to Merrill Kelly.
The official diagnosis is an intercostal nerve irritation. I don't know what that means. I'm not a doctor, other than we are hoping for the quickest turnaround possible. And the reason why it took us so long is we wanted to do as much testing as we possibly could. I think he might have explained to you that it was a long process. The thoroughness was appreciated by all. At the end of the day, we feel like this could be a short turnaround, and that's what we're going to remain hopeful for. He was out there actually throwing today. So once we got the news that he could resume some certain baseball activities, we were going to take advantage of that. Not the greatest news. The greatest news is that he'd be taking the mound tomorrow or the next day, and he would be on his way to starting opening day. The one thing that it will do is remove him from opening day. So that's an unfortunate thing. I've had a little bit of a conversation with Merrill on that. All he wants to do is get healthy. Of course, a little bit bummed about that honor, but most important thing is his health. And we feel like this is this situation where it's going to be trending in a very positive direction, and we're going to get him back out there as soon as possible. No timelines. I don't know what it means, but we're going to take it day by day, and we're going to get that information from him. As we get it, we're going to keep pushing forward.
Now it makes sense why there was so much testing. Because you test, you might figure out it's intercostal, and then you're like, okay, now what's causing this? We know why you hurt, but why is it happening? We don't know. So we'll just keep testing. So that's where Merrill Kelly stands. Boy, this guy, it's crazy, the injuries of Merrill Kelly. And they are so just abnormal. If you remember, he was coming up through the system. When I say that, he really wasn't. That was kind of a dumb statement. He was signed by the Diamondbacks coming out of Korean baseball. Pitched terribly in 2019, but then started to figure it out at the end of 2019. Was having a good 2020. Then ran into issues, and he had that, I hope I don't butcher the term because this is off the top of my head, but had that thoracic outlet surgery in which they take a rib out, and then you lose a rib in this thing to create more room in your upper chest. I don't want to, please, if you are a doctor, feel free to rip me for even attempting to explain it. But he went through that at the end of 2020. Then he had an issue with his teres major, which is a shoulder muscle, but it's not one that pitchers normally, out of all the things that go wrong with the shoulder, this usually isn't the issue. So he has that. Then all of the cramping issues last year. Now, out of nowhere, you get this intercostal. Okay. It's not just Tommy John. It's not just shoulder. It's all of these weird things that he goes through. But he's always bounced back, so I guess that is the positive. The good news for the team in general is how fantastic Zach Gallen looked yesterday. Gave up a base hit to the first batter, and then boom, dominant after that. Even had a 9-pitch at bat against, I don't know who it was. And I wasn't there to see it, but the reports of him throwing gas were huge. Now, there's a funny story about it. His first fastball registered 98 on the Salt River radar gun. And even he noticed it. And everyone's like, whoa, hey. And the truth was, in the MLB radar gun, it was 94. Somehow it was dialed up 4 extra points. And he noticed it because when he threw a curveball, it registered at 92, and he was laughing. He goes, okay, if my curveball's 92, that means that fastball really wasn't 98 because my curveball's never going to be 92. Here is Zach Gallen talking about his outing with Jake Garcia of 12 News.
Everything felt pretty good by my standards. Ball felt like it was coming out really good. Obviously, first batter or two, it's always a little odd facing a different uniform. But once we kind of got into the swing of things, it was just like riding a bike, just getting back out there and trying to make pitches.
23 pitches in total. You had that 9-pitch battle with Freeland there. What were you trying to work on in that at-bat, and then you ultimately got him with the fastball high in the zone? Yeah, we just kind of set out just to try and mix, try to throw everything at least once. I'm not sure if we did that or not. But yeah, I think just try to mix, and at that point it was like, okay, I know I'm getting close to the pitch count, I can feel like. So let's just try and get him out, whatever way. So we just challenged him with fastballs there at the end. Does the fact that you were able to make a start so soon into spring, does that validate some of the off-season work you put in when you weren't technically with the team but still doing things on your own? I don't know if I would say validate, but yeah, it's I think just the results from the things you can measure and just how I felt repeatable in my delivery, I think is kind of reaffirmed just what the work I kind of put in and where I was at. And like I said, I know Torrey said that from maybe an innings build-up standpoint, I'm behind, but I don't feel like I'm from a health standpoint and from how my arm feels, I don't feel like I'm behind at all. Good to put that jersey on again after the offseason, maybe some uncertainty, but back in a D-backs uniform, back here at Salt River Field. Yeah, awesome. Put the uniform back on. Awesome to be somewhere where I'm familiar with so many familiar faces. So yeah, it's not something that I take for granted.
I am no way predicting Cy Young, but you could really sell me on a great year for Zach Gallen. To have a guy that's as cerebral as him, as motivated as him, and reach the lack of success that he did last year in a contract year, and then be given new life in a second, in a sense, contract year. This could all play very, very well for Gallen to have a really good year. They're going to need it. If you want to have the dream of a postseason, which I admit I don't have, but if you want that dream, you're going to have that man win you at least 17 games, I think, and hold the fort down until Corbin Burns comes back. Because I think it's a mistake to just automatically assume Puck, Martinez, and Burns are going to come walking through that door and be in all-star form. It's going to take quite a while. And I think you need to count on a lot of those guys for 2027 and use 2020. It's not like you're going to say don't pitch well, but realistically, I don't see them walking in and saving us all from the forces of evil in 2026. There's a deep dive Diamondbacks-wise for you to give you an update. They take on the Royals today at Salt River. Coming up next, a lot of fun. Just plain and simple, a lot of fun. Bobby Mack, Arizona Republic. Talking racing on Doug Franz Unplugged. Presented by Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass. The word nothing is actually a good thing when you call Parker & Sons heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. You see, the nothing is you don't pay for a weekend fee, an emergency fee, a nighttime fee, or any other made-up fee. Of course, you pay for the service, but Parker & Sons doesn't charge you like you've inconvenienced them to help you. When you have any issues with your heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical, there's one place to call, 602-2-REPAIR. That's 602, the number 2, then REPAIR for Parker & Sons.
Burrito Express started with my father about 25 years ago. He got laid off and decided that he needed to do something to provide for his family. My brother and I were older teens, 17, 18-year-old. I'm going to do a trial out of my house. So literally, we decided we're going to start out of his house. So we delivered menus in a square mile area, literally started delivering burritos out of our home in Mesa, Arizona. And after about a month, he said, let's do this. Went and found his first location. And believe it or not, that's how it started. We started with one location back in 1995. Now we're where we are now.
Unplugged Army, we're with the man. It is a Bobby Mack morning in which Bob McManaman of the Arizona Republic joins us on Shooting the Bull with Bobby Mack every Thursday on Doug Franz Unplugged, presented by Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass. Bobby Mack, how's the family? How are your boys? How's life?
Life is good. I didn't know we were calling this Shooting the Bull.
We've been toying with different ideas. A lot of listeners like Shooting the Bull. Nothing has become official as of yet. Do you have something?
Just made it sound official. I mean,
I did.
No one asked me about it.
What would you like to call it? I'm asking you now.
No, I don't know.
All right. Well, then, get back to you. Shooting the Bull with Bobby Mack until Bobby Mack comes up with something is now the segment. Yeah, is now the name of the segment. You can do the same thing I did. You can just call it whatever you want on your column. At the bottom of the column, you can say, and Bobby Mack is shooting the bull with Doug Franz. I'm shooting the bull with Doug Franz. You get to name it whatever you want in the column.
I could do that.
Yeah. And
I'm a columnist now.
We'll go with whatever you write, because whatever columnists say is what's going to happen.
Okay. How the hell are you, Doug?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. Obviously, busy time of year with the combine. That'll take up most of my weekend. And then we've got the big event, the grand opening at Slice House by Tony Gimignani coming up on Saturday, and Pints for Pat on Saturday. So it's a busy weekend.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. You had a busy week. Tell me about Tuesday and Women's Final Four. Are you planning on credentialing and going?
Yeah. Good event. Good event downtown at Mortgage Matchup Center. Is that what they're calling it now?
Yep, very good.
First time there since they changed the name, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was your first time there since they did that?
Since they changed the name from Footprint.
Yeah.
Something or other.
Yeah, you've been to Footprint, but you haven't been to Mortgage Matchup.
I've been to America West Arena.
Yeah. I've never been to America West Arena. I was at U.S. Airways Center.
Oh, there was that too.
And I think it was Talking Stick Resort Arena for like a month and a half.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, Tuesday, not yesterday. Was
right. What do you think?
It was 2 days ago. Now it's Thursday morning.
Very good.
They had the Women's Final Four tip-off kind of breakout news conference. A lot of really cool people there to talk about, a cool event that's coming. Women's basketball is flying, man. I wrote a column about 2025 and things that struck me, and one of them was watching the WNBA, watching women's college basketball, watching it explode, getting to talk to Molly Miller, before the season started this year. And I'm jacked. I think it's cool that we're going to have such a cool event coming up. There was some great info coming out, and they're treating it like college football playoffs, and they should, because that's what it deserves. And I dig it. I dig it. As a guy who covered women's college basketball when I first broke into this business as a teenager, covering Julian Simpson's ASU women's basketball, interviewing, going to almost every game, at least the home games. We didn't travel back then. Yeah, it was just a rekindling of spirits for me, Doug. And I know you appreciate college ball, and you love the women's side of the game as well, as we all should. And the women's Final Four is going to be a kick-ass event, and I'm looking forward to covering that for AZ Central.
I am the 1995 Ohio University women's play-by-play voice. How about
Get
that?
out right now.
My first ever trip on a plane is because they made the NCAA tournament and had to play UW. So I flew from Columbus to Seattle. Awesome. First time on a plane, and did the play-by-play of UW absolutely drubbing our Bobcats in the first round of a 3-14 game. Still remember.
3-14 tip-off?
No. As in the seeding. As in UW was a 3 seed and my Bobcats were a 14 seed. If memory serves.
Weird if you remember the time of the tip-off.
Yeah, that would be a little different. But what was cool too is Seattle was hosting the Final Four in the Kingdome that year.
I've been there.
So they had a huge bracket up on a wall for the men's tournament, even though I was there for the first round of the women's tournament.
I caught 2 home run balls from Dave Winfield at the Kingdome.
Oh my goodness.
Just walking around with my sister and brother-in-law as a 16-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just both landed in center field an inning after each other, inning and a half, whatever it was. And I gave the balls away. To some kids. And I was a kid.
I was going to say, as a teenager, I'm not giving the ball away as a teenager.
They both landed in the center field concourse at the Kingdome, and that was a great memory. I don't remember what the score was, or the 3-14 time of pitch. But I remember catching or corralling 2 home run balls by Dave Winfield. It was pretty awesome.
Very strange trivia. It was the Kingdome. Not because it was large, but because it was on King Street in King County.
Yeah.
And therefore, that was why it was called the Kingdome. But a lot of people thought it was a name having to do with how big the place was, as in Superdome.
They kept the giant King Kong there for a movie once, I think.
I did not know that one.
No, they didn't.
Okay. I like that. I like that add-on. The Olympic hockey team.
Yes.
Go. Just go. What were you thinking about?
Well, Olympic hockey teams.
Yes.
Let's not forget that, okay?
Yes.
And with good measure. The ladies won, the men won. It was fantastic. My son and I watched the men's game. I watched the women's game as well, days earlier.
Mm-hmm.
As a guy who's covered hockey for years back in the day in America West Arena.
Yes.
And some other places that I don't know what they call that anymore. That beautiful building that sits empty in Glendale.
If you care, Desert Diamond Arena.
Okay. Well, whatever it is or was, they should still be playing there. It's a great hockey arena for NHL. And when they moved, just before we get back to the Olympics, they finally got the ice right before the Coyotes stopped paying bills there. So it's devastating to even think about. The gold medal winning teams was fantastic to watch. And, I don't know how to comment on what I saw in the post-game men's celebration, unless you're going to ask me about it.
I was actually thinking it's almost impossible not to talk about it. As soon as you said teams and talked about the women, I mean, it's always this debate, should sports and politics mix? No. And truthfully, it always has. It has, so often, back to Cassius Clay losing his boxing title, or Muhammad Ali more specifically, for losing his boxing title for not fighting in Vietnam. I mean, it's been going on forever whether or not that they should be mixing. They do, and they have, and they will, and they'll continue to do so. And then it gets into the debate. When is it okay? Is it, the women said they had a difficult schedule and they couldn't get back, even though the men's schedule was more difficult for them to get to the State of the Union address. Yet the men were given a military plane, to get back to the State of the Union address. And there's so many people that want to keep the two things separated, but when do you draw the line? And I'm always interested in how the different reactions. Matt Burke was an old center for the Ravens, and when they won the Super Bowl, they were invited to the Obama White House, and he didn't go for anti-abortion reasons, but never announced it, never told anybody. And it was like, a month later, some member of the media said, "Hey, you weren't there. Why didn't you go?" And he just said it, and he got ripped. I mean, he got ripped for dishonoring the president. But now, for other reasons, it seems like you get ripped if you go and you get ripped if you don't. So now everybody's upset.
I had a chance to go to the White House one day on a Coyotes road trip.
Wow.
And I couldn't make it. I don't know why or how. And everyone told me I missed out. And I don't remember who the president was. It didn't matter to me. I think I needed to call home because I had a sick kid.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't go.
I was in it when I was about 12, I think.
Oh, wow.
13. Just one of those things. It used to be you just sit out on these stands back. I mean, there was a Secret Service, but it wasn't like it is now. And you just sat out on these stands and you hoped you had your number called, and they called our number. And then we did the walking tour.
Oh, cool.
And then we were standing in line, and then President Reagan actually walked over to Marine One. So we got to see him kind of walk out of the White House. I was like, wow, this is the greatest thing in the world.
I think if I went, I would probably have had 17 Dr. Peppers and had to excuse myself. That's just me, though. I don't know. Anyways, it was fun to watch the Olympics, and yes, mostly I watched hockey.
Yeah. I watch a lot of different things, man. I love the winter games. The summer games.
Watch curling.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I did.
That shot by Team Great Britain to knock us off the medal thing. That woman's shot was unbelievable.
Yeah. I went curling. Going back to Coyotes again, Charlie Simmer, former LA Kings player from that famed forward line. I can't remember what they were called now, but somebody will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was Canadians against the American writers.
Oh, okay.
They taught us how to do it. It was in Calgary or Edmonton, I forget. And I'm thinking, oh, sure, that'll be fun. And, I ended up just going back and having some coffee at the end of the rink of whatever it was. It was entertaining for 10 minutes.
It seems like something that you could do. Okay. You could do with a beer. Like it seems like you could easily.
It was too cold for that. You had to have coffee.
Oh no, there's never too cold for beer. I mean, I'm not going to put my beer on the ice, but I'm sure you can rest it somewhere.
That'd be cheating, Doug.
What do you mean to be cheating to have a beer?
You can't put your beer on a pool table or a curling rink.
Okay. Well, I was thinking there's got to be a nearby wall or a chair or something, or I'll just hold it.
Just say, I'll hold my beer.
I'll sweep while with a beer in one hand and the broom in the other.
This I believe from you. Yeah.
Yeah. I would easily do that and succeed. What's your favorite Olympic event?
Oh, in winter is I didn't like the half pipe at all. I covered figure skating early in my career, so I do have a great appreciation, but I covered hockey for so long that that's got to be it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any other fantastic sport I'm missing. I don't like biathlon. I don't like cross-country skiing. It lost me. I appreciate it, but I don't know why or how you would want to train for that sport, the cross country thing. Respect so much to those people who do it. Doesn't look fun, doesn't look inspiring.
Hockey is obviously number one, but for me, what's very close, bobsled.
Bobsled was good. Yeah.
I love the bobsled, and you've got me on luge, and I would never do skeleton. Skeleton's the one when they're face first. But luge and bobsled look fantastic.
Looks a little dangerous to me.
I want to do it. I would love to go. I would love to do the bobsled.
I would love to help you push yourself down that thing.
I would easily be man 2 or 3 on a 4-man bobsled, but man 1 and 2, they're actually responsible for things, and I don't think that would be a good idea. Yeah, I can stand at the top, and you just push it and go as fast as you can. I can do that.
See, I would be that guy just pushing you down in a single bobsled and making the sign of the cross.
I don't think I'd end up on my head.
Well, you never know.
Because I've done Bondurant. I did open wheel racing at PIR once, and
I've done that. Yeah,
and I was actually reasonably talented. I thought I didn't spin out. I passed everybody.
I drove a NASCAR and an Indy car with Mario, and better yet, Jackie Stewart taught me how to turn into the apex of the curve when we had Formula One racing here back in 92, 93.
Oh, that was fantastic. And you succeeded? Was he reasonably impressed?
Every time I make a turn, I turn and say Jackie Stewart's accent, you got to hit the apex of the curve. Because if I don't do it, I don't turn. I can't. I do that. I've done that every day of my life. I want to do it like when I'm in an Uber ride in the backseat. You got to hit the apex, man.
So you're just going around Broadway curve, or you're going on your way to the airport on that massive curve?
One of the best curves ever.
Yeah. And you drop
Papago curve from hell. You remember that?
Yeah. You drop a Jackie Stewart. I never thought of that. Every time I'm going in the curve now.
Oh yeah. You got. I've got an extra VHS tape of Jackie explaining the whole decent driving thing for maniacs like yourself. I could, if you have a VHS tape player, I'll gladly hand it to you.
I think that's what they're called, VHS tape players. I don't think they're called VCRs.
Whatever that thing is. I've got an extra copy, and Jackie signed 2 of them for me. I don't know why. I'm going to give you one if you have a tape player. You can borrow mine because I don't know how to use it anymore.
Okay, done. I have one. It just doesn't work.
Same here. Why is that?
Well, they're 30 years old. That's why.
Well, they just don't stop. A clock still works after 30 years old.
Well, only the manufacturing of a Swiss clock. I mean, nowadays, I got a broken clock somewhere. It's only right twice a day.
So are you.
You are on your game today.
I haven't lost in darts to you when we're shooting the bull.
Yeah, well, I'll need to get my confidence back up since you're winning the interview, which I wasn't even competing in.
Okay.
And so
I didn't know it was a game.
I didn't either until you're outperforming me, and now I'm trying to keep up.
Do better.
Thank you. I of course, I'm actually nervous. You're on fire right now.
I don't think so.
What are you thinking about Monty Ossenfort? You used to be Mr. Combine, and
I love the Combine.
Now you got America's reporter Teo Mackey going to the Combine.
Amen.
And Josh Weinfuss of ESPN had an interesting report.
He did.
It wasn't like Monty Ossenfort didn't specifically say, I talk to Kyler every day, but he said we have daily dialogue, and I think he meant with his staff. But when he was asked specifically about talking to Kyler, he said, we have a good running dialogue. So it hinted like they've spoken at least since before the beginning of January. And then now Josh Weinfuss reports they haven't spoken since the last game, since the exit interview. And then yesterday, someone had a report that Kyler Murray wants to be released. He doesn't want to be traded. How do you see this mess? Monty Ossenfort, I bet there's a lot of people that They understand Kyler's got to go. But I bet a lot of NFL veterans are saying, hey, it's still a 7-year pro. You could talk to him,
Yeah. I think Josh was hinting that what Monty said isn't true.
Exactly. I accept that. That is not.
We don't use unnamed sources at AZ Central or the Republic anymore.
Okay.
Last I checked. and things can change, I guess. But, Josh has plenty of sources since he works for ESPN.
Yeah.
He's got insiders who are dialed in. And it doesn't mean we or anybody else don't.
It's just you don't go public maybe with it.
Well, there's that. There's other considerations. It doesn't surprise me. And I'll probably agree with that report from Josh that it's Monty hasn't talking to Kyler, because I think Monty's the one that told Jonathan Gannon, do not play this guy again and quit saying he's going to be the starter once he's healthy.
Yeah.
And as soon as the trade deadline passed and Monty was the one who put him on the injured list, and as I wrote that day, as soon as they benched him, this is what they did.
Yes.
For that Cowboy game on a Monday night, it was over. And they decided to move on. So they're going to get what they can. And it looks like some people might be interested. If people are interested in Tua, they better damn well be interested in Kyler. I think there are teams that would love to have him, even at the price, especially if the Cardinals help financially. And there's mechanisms for that to happen. But it sure does seem like a sloppy divorce, and I think we all saw it coming.
Yeah, and that's my thing, is there's no reason it needs to be sloppy. I mean, I think that's where it's really bad. I don't see any scenario why you would want Kyler Murray back. I mean, both football-wise and money-wise. So I'm with the Cardinals in moving on, but it's still a human being, and I still care about how the other free agents in the world, this is how the Cardinals, to me, they develop their relationships and their reputations this way. And then that does affect, I think, future negotiations with, totally different people when you don't handle your business the right way the first time.
Well, are we saying they're not handling their business the right way?
I'm saying it in the way that they talk to Kyler. Like, if they
didn't talk to Kyler.
With Kyler and Kyler is, Kyler's camp is staying silent. They come out and say, hey, we understand that they're doing all that they can for us, blah, blah, blah. Then I think you look good. When you get a report like this, you're saying, yeah, we have a good dialogue with Kyler, and Kyler's camp says, well, they haven't talked to us in, since the end of the season.
Was it Kyler's camp that actually said that? There was no quote from any source. There was no
quote. Just said a source.
Don't say Kyler's camp then.
Yeah. I'm just saying Kyler's camp. A source has said. And I admit, I believe it. Now, the thing that's funny about Kyler is Kyler coming out and saying he wants to be released. This is where I do laugh at athletes.
When did he say that?
He said that there's a report that came out on Wednesday that said Kyler has asked the Cardinals to release him. Kyler has not said anything. Kyler's camp has not said anything. It's just one report. And I always laugh at those things from athletes because, well, of course you want to be released because then you can sign with anybody.
Right.
But when you look at the rules, you had no problem taking that contract, which locked you down at the expense of the team. And here's the Cardinals thinking, okay, we can trade you for a $30-some-odd million hit, or we can cut you for a $53 million hit. What are you going to choose? I mean, it's better for the Cardinals to trade him for a bag of balls and a new first down marker than it is to just cut him. So, well, of course you want to be released, but you don't want to give up any of your signing bonus, do you?
No.
Exactly.
No. That being said, I would have reached out to Kyler multiple times if I was Monty or Michael.
Yes.
And if I was Mike LaFleur, I would have done it the day I got hired.
Right.
Now, I think Mike LaFleur has said he's talked to Kyler.
He did say that, and then he said, I'm going to keep that conversation private.
Which is fine.
Mm-hmm, I agree with you.
But I want to know where Mike LaFleur stands on this almost more than anybody, because I want my head coach to dictate who his quarterback is. I don't want my GM or my owner telling me who my quarterback is. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken the job if I don't get to pick who the quarterback is. Now, I don't know how that conversation went or what happened during it or many more that they might have had. But, okay, Monty doesn't matter to me in this situation. To get to the heart of it, Doug, let your coach talk to the quarterback. Let him decide if you're going to, you made this guy the next dude. I think it's a 5-year deal with Mike LaFleur. He's got to pick the quarterback.
I'm betting what happened was if you think about it, if you're interviewing for a job and you are going to take the sports editor job of the Arizona Republic,
never going to happen.
And you've got some wild-haired columnist, well, then who's nearing the end of his game. You can tell I'm jealous of your wild hair, and you're near the end of your contract. You're going to want to know: do I have authority to do what I need to do? Do I have the authority to keep him if you don't like him? Do I have the whatever? You're going to want to have that answered before you take the job.
Why would you take the job if you don't?
Yeah, so I'm assuming that conversation happened as part of the first hour of the negotiation. So Kyler coming?
So Monty didn't talk to him, but Mike LaFleur did.
Yeah, I believe that.
Are we just wasting time running around circles here?
No, because
Mike LaFleur wants him, that's all that matters to me.
But I bet you that he was already told he wouldn't be getting him. I mean, I bet that was like hour one of the conversation.
Are you quoting a source, or are you just quoting yourself?
I am speculating that if you're Monty Ossenfort and you've already, like you said, you've already benched him. You've already said you don't believe. I bet Monty doesn't believe in him. And Monty says to every coaching candidate,
we're not going to go on with Kyler.
We're not going to go on with Kyler. Or, do you still want to go forward? Our quarterback situation is we're going to have Jacoby Brissett.
That's a lot of assumption, Doug. I get it. It may have happened. That may have been how it went down. It might not have been how it went down.
Right. Very true.
Let's keep an open mind on this, because I still know I'd rather have Kyler than Malik Willis, because I'm not going to pay Malik Willis as much as I'm paying Kyler for 2 games that he lost.
Even though if you're looking at it through that prism,
anything you have to say, I'm still picking Kyler over Malik. But I want to draft a guy.
If you're looking at it from a football standpoint,
okay,
I accept Kyler over Malik. But if I am looking at it through the prism of 2027, I would rather have Malik, because I would rather not have either of them, because I don't want to be paying Kyler in 2027.
Well, then do what I said and ride with Jacoby Brissett and draft a quarterback. And if it doesn't work out, move on a year and a half from now.
I'm fine with that. I would cut Kyler.
Let's do that.
I would cut Kyler before the 5th day of the new league year.
Well, you got to do something with Kyler,
right?
Whatever it is. And if you don't, I don't know. I met Malik Willis. He's a great dude. I met him at the Combine. I love that place. I did. But that's not the answer. Especially not $35 million. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I think you're just trapping yourself. Like, Malik hasn't proven enough to me to put forth the resources to make him the answer.
Who was the guy from the Packers who signed with Seattle for mega millions? And we were just talking about him.
Matt Hasselbeck.
No, the guy that Seattle traded for the year they drafted Russell Wilson.
How about, was it Matt Flynn? Was that his name?
Yes. A ridiculous amount of money. And then they drafted.
Because he won like preseason games, and he won like game 15 and 16 when Rodgers was sitting.
Right. And threw up 464 yards and 4 touchdowns. Whatever.
I think he still owns the Packers record for 6 touchdown passes in a game.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But where is he at now?
It doesn't matter.
He flamed out. And Russell Wilson took over and won the job, and Matt Flynn stayed for a year or two, and he's out of the league.
Yeah, I'm totally with you in drafting a quarterback.
Malik Willis is a dog turd.
I agree. I agree. I'm just not willing to put forth the resources to find out. I'm not going to gamble.
Nor would I. And that's what I'm saying. You're already invested in Kyler. I still want them to draft a quarterback and trade Kyler because I don't think he wants to be here. But I don't know. I haven't talked to Kyler.
But you're willing to admit it. That's what matters to me.
And I'm telling you, a source told me that I have not talked to him.
That might be the title of today's show.
Sources.
Tell me about America's reporter Teo Mackey. We're very impressed with him here as the Unplugged Army gives him the massive salute. But
he should, yeah.
You know full well what it's like when you are a member of the media, not afraid to ask what you think needs to be asked, and what are the pressures that you've dealt with over the years? Do you have any stories of people calling? I'm sure you'll protect the people, but
no, screw them.
Okay, good. I mean, what are those conversations like, and what do you think is happening to Teo Mackey behind the scenes?
I don't think anything is nearly as bad as what I had to go through, because back in the day, you can get away with anything, right? And that included players and coaches.
Right.
PR directors, while we're at it.
Yep.
It's a little bit more sophisticato now. You know, you don't make a scene or put your hands around a guy or choke him or threaten his life or say, I'm going to hunt you down. I had boycotts. I mean, Ken Summers and I could tell you stories about that. So when the offensive line boycotted Ken Summers while we're sharing the Cardinal beat, I talked to them and he talked to the defense, and we got it all figured out. And when a receiver wouldn't talk to Ken, I would talk to Ken, and he would talk to a DB, and you know, you switch up. Seth Joyner told me if he saw me in the locker room, he was gonna do something bad because something I wrote about Buddy Ryan. I don't want to get into the real evil stuff from other beats. But things were, you settled it kind of like, I can't use the word gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
You stood your ground. And Teo hasn't, I don't think, now I could be wrong because I haven't talked to, Teo would have probably told me if he's had any pushback on his pointed questions since taking over for me the last year and a half, whatever it's been. And I don't think it phases him one bit because he's just doing his job. People respect that.
He asked them so professionally that I think if he does get blowback, that says more about the recipient of the question or the organization than it necessarily does about him. Like his question to Monty Ossenfort, what was it, 2 days ago, was considering the results of the organization since you've taken over as general manager, is there extra urgency? Do you need to speed things up? And that's exactly what should be asked, because there's a track history of some general managers in the past thinking, hey, I can be a little more reckless with draft picks because they're probably not going to be my draft picks.
Wow, that was fast forward thinking on your part.
I mean, I've seen it, and I'm not saying Monty has done it, but I think it brings it up that it's a very, very fair question to ask him, does he need to speed this up? Is there any edicts for him to speed it up?
That went over my head. Are you saying that Monty knows he's going to lose his job or something?
No, I mean it more of, I think it's fair to ask any general manager who has had a coach fired while he kept the job.
Right.
The natural inclination is you're on the hot seat, and therefore I think it's a good question to ask. Are you going to speed things up in order to, does your record affect any decisions you're about to make? And he said, no, it doesn't.
Well, that's probably how I would have answered it, I think.
But I just love the question. I mean, there's a lot of people in the media that would not have tied that in.
Well, you're a conspiracy theorist. We know that.
You know, a lot of people have told me that. I have never looked at myself as one, except for I realize it's a big one that I think the NBA draft lottery is rigged.
Right.
And that some people would say that's a conspiracy.
Our NBA team's tanking.
Yeah, and we know that teams are tanking for sure. We do know that.
For sure.
Yes. Like you can't have the Utah Jazz have a guy that's going for 20 and 10 through 3 quarters and magically he's now on the bench for the 4th quarter. I mean, that's the definition of tanking. But,
yeah, you really got to take me to an NBA game. I am so working on that.
But it's the Suns. We have an owner in Matt.
Utah Jazz. Can we go?
I'm not going to a Jazz game. I'm not going to a Jazz game.
Come on, take me.
No. Well, how would you fix it? I have a great way to fix it.
I wouldn't go to the game to start with.
That would be good. Never go to a Jazz game. The whole, speaking of boycotts, all NBA fans boycott every Jazz game.
Look, I love John Stockton, though. I got to say that.
Okay. How do you feel about Gonzaga?
Is that an Italian meatloaf?
It's his Gonzaga that's his college. That's his that's where John Stockton went to college.
Oh, right. Well,
nobody had ever heard of Gonzaga until
are they the Zips?
No, they are simply the Bulldogs. The Zips are the Akron Zips.
Isn't there another Zips?
I don't think so.
Sports bar.
Yes, it's a sports bar.
Okay.
But they're not open anymore, which brings us back to politics.
I didn't bring it up. Oh, I guess I did. What else you got, Doug?
I think we covered everything. I'm jacked up for D-backs, but I'm already worried about them with the Merrill Kelly back thing.
Injuries are a nuisance.
I do think you've got to look at your staff and like, okay, wait a minute here. We had an injury-plagued year the year before. We kind of got banged up by injuries the year before that, and now we're starting spring training with a lot of injuries, but are we really making any changes to our strength and conditioning staff?
Yeah. Well, yeah, talk to Monty Ossenford about their strength and conditioning staff because that was a problem too.
Yeah.
Or Kenny Dillingham about his strength. There's something in the water in Arizona.
Now you are the conspiracy theorist.
No, I'm not. I just was funning about.
But I do care. Are you cutting edge?
Yeah, it's like, oh God, here we go again.
Yeah. You've kind of felt like they had room to spare last year if a couple guys got hurt.
Yeah.
If they would have taken the game a little more seriously, they would have been in the playoffs last year. But some of their boneheaded decisions on the field were terrible. This year, they don't have that kind of room. They don't have any room for injuries.
You're right. And if Merrill Kelly misses a lot of time, it's going to be an issue. If he misses opening day, like Corbin Carroll, and he's back a week later, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if it's significant and something happens to Corbin, and then God forbid somebody else goes down, I didn't buy these tickets. Yeah.
Last one. What are you working on? Any Bobby? What's the next Bobby Mack column focusing on?
Well, yeah, I got some women's basketball stuff. Still got an NHRA column. I'm interviewing Maddie Gordon, Top Fuel driver, Thursday.
You gonna tell him your Jackie Stewart story?
I might. Although you don't do curves in Top Fuel, you go straight ahead.
Oh, that's true. That's okay. No Apex
speed.
Is that the new name of the segment? You know, shooting the bull with Apex Bobby Mack or hitting the Apex?
No. Well, give me some time. I didn't know you had to name this. I thought it was just.
We didn't, but then once we shot the bull, that's what listeners kind of threw out there after the darts event.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't base it off of that performance. Let's try it again.
I'm thinking maybe one day we do a darts tournament for charity, and whoever wins the darts tournament faces you in the celebrity face-off in the final.
Well, they're going to have a happy day.
My money's always on you, Bobby Mack. You're going to throw the dart right into the apex.
As long as you got the money, that's all that matters.
Good. That's big time. All right. Love you, brother. This was fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Love ya.
Here is Sue Rigler talking about game day at 100 Mile Brewing Company.
Game day here at 100 Mile Brewing is less than a mile away from ASU. So game day, we have the hockey game at Mullet. We've got basketball at Desert Financial, and we have football at Sun Devil Stadium. We have free parking, and you can actually even walk over. We've got a parking garage with 8 floors, so we'll never run out of parking, and it's free. So it's always a buzz and fun to watch the games here.
100 Mile Brewing Company. Fresh. It never gets old.
Yeah, my favorite part about being the owner of Goodyear Fit Body Boot Camp is the amount of relationships I've been able to build since opening the gym. It's the community that we're building. It's the amount of fun that I have as an owner, the conversations I get to have with my members, or I get to learn about everybody's families, their occupation, their recreation, and their dreams. So really, I opened a fitness center that turned into a big social club where I get to see a bunch of faces every day. Yeah, just have a great time with them. And a lot of times I get to see some amazing transformations.
A lot of guys I could choose for this, but I'm going to choose David Bailey. Today is the first day of workouts at the NFL Combine. I'm hoping to get to the D-backs game today. I might not. I might just stay home and watch all Combine today. But I'm hoping to get out there. But anyway, Combine starts today as far as workouts are concerned, and the schedules never change. I mean, it's the same every year. D-line and linebackers are day one. That's today. DBs and tight ends are tomorrow. And then the weekend has quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, and then they always finish with offensive linemen on the last day. Same format every year. And it's funny, you're kind of there for 4 days, and the workout is your last day, but everybody has the exact same kind of experience where you show up and you do interviews and medical testing. You like register day one and do some interviews. Day two, medical testing and interviews. Day three, the NFLPA meets with you and you do interviews. And then day four, you work out. It's just that everybody gets there at a different time because if you're D-line or linebacker, you're going on day one. So you've been there. You got there at the beginning of this week and now you're working out today. So one of the people that's going to be working out today is David Bailey. You've heard me talk about him a lot. You probably remember him if you watched the ASU Texas Tech game. I am a big fan of his. Ruben Bain is my favorite, but that's just on the football field. But the Combine is going to affect me. Normally, I mock the Combine as the underwear Olympics, even though I watched the whole thing. But this is going to be a difficult one because I like David Bailey so much. I already liked him, but in listening to him, which I admit should not matter, but I'm making it matter because this young man, he just exudes intelligence. And he to me, he's a culture builder. He's a guy that creates culture because of his professionalism, his work ethic. And I loved listening to his focus when I was listening to his conversation with the media.
I have met with the Arizona Cardinals, also ridden another great meeting. And just to go top three, I mean, similar to what somebody else said, like top two, top three, top 10, first two rounds, it doesn't really matter, man. Like, this is just a super cool opportunity. Looking back, I don't know if I ever thought I was going to be here. So, I'm just super blessed and grateful to be here.
To hear that, it's funny. I've always heard guys, hey, I want to be the number one pick. I want this. I want this. You're kind of arguing about stuff that doesn't matter because you might say I'm competing to be the number one draft pick and you want that. Okay. But what you're really doing there is you're competing for the hearts and minds of a personnel department, but not necessarily fighting to win a football game. David Bailey sounds like a guy like, listen, I don't care where I get drafted. I don't care. This is all such a blessing. Just be happy about it. That's an attitude I've been working on. Then I couldn't hear the question, but somebody asked him about a game, meaning a game while he was at Texas Tech. And he put up good numbers at the game. And guess what he didn't want to talk about? Himself.
To be honest, I mean, I feel like I didn't actually play to like the best of my ability that game. I think for my linebacker core, they did extremely well. Jacob Rodriguez, Ben Roberts, John Curry, they did extremely well. Secondary did well. But that really wasn't my best game. I had a couple good rushes, but yeah, I don't think I felt really like all myself that game. But obviously came out the dub, so that's all that really mattered that game.
I didn't play well. My teammates did, and we won. Should I play anything else? The guy's honored to be at the combine. He's honored to be considered a top 10 pick. And I didn't play that well. My teammates did. Okay. You want anything else? Did I tell you he graduated from Stanford before he went to Texas Tech? In 3 years.
If I want something and I put my mind to it, I feel like I'm able to achieve that. The goal of graduating in 3 I really didn't think about it until after freshman year. So really, it was after that where I started taking like community courses and online courses, try to get some more credits and graduate. So I mean, as soon as I knew that's what I wanted to do, man, like I put my mind to it and I was able to achieve that.
After his freshman year, he thinks I can work harder and faster at Stanford. Okay. Okay. Well, tell us about Stanford. You know, the course names are kind of legendary. He graduated in 3 years with a degree in science, technology, and society. Now, that sounds like a Stanford made-up bit. Science, technology, and society. Well, where else were you going to use science and technology? You're going to use it on, I don't know, Ord Mandel? I mean, it's just silly. But anyway, okay, fine. Thank you, Stanford, for that. Yet, give us the name of maybe the classes or, maybe a class that you really enjoyed.
Honestly, I took a couple psychology classes. If I had to do it all over again, I'd probably major subjects like psychology or neuroscience. So I know I had a lot of fun in my psychology classes, just learning about like human behavior and then just things in general about the human mind.
Now, you're going to laugh. Here's where I'm applying this, and I actually think that matters. He was really interested in human behavior and the human mind. When you're playing defensive end, you're doing so much of reading of the body language of the opposing player. I mean, every player, other than maybe the quarterback in football, there's a mano-a-mano aspect to it. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's a deuce block. Sometimes you're bracketing a tight end and it's two of, blah, blah, blah. But there's really nothing more raw than edge rusher, offensive tackle. And if you can force the other team to chip you, now you've slowed a tight end or a running back from getting out into the route sooner. Or if you force the guard to help, now somebody else can be open for one-on-one blocking on the D line. That's the goal of your main pass rusher. And if you are interested in the study of human behavior, then you do a good job of picking up the signs and the weaknesses of the tackle that's guarding you. You'll notice, oh, wait, I was only faking the spin move, but he really bought the spin. He's afraid of my spin. I'm going to save that for the fourth quarter, or I'm going to set him up for it now. Things like that. And that is vital to success as a defensive end. And it's something that already interests him. So that really got me. There's a little funny story of one time I really alienated Wolf on the old show. If you still listen to Wolf now, there's a question he will ask every young player and a lot of veterans too. but he'll ask this every time. He will say, where do you need to improve? It's one of his favorite questions, and he gets a lot out of it. He really likes that question. I was always sick of that question. I mean, it's 15 years, and I'm hearing the same question every time. And I never liked it. Because you always got to say, I got to improve at everything in my game. I got to improve here. And they never really say anything to me. And he likes it because he says, I can find out whether or not you are your own worst critic. If you're not really critical of the areas where you need to improve on, then you're probably not that concerned with trying to improve. Okay. I still don't. 15 years of sitting in that chair and not getting great answers when that question was asked is why I turned on the question. Well, it's a really good question when you get a good answer.
I'm known as a pass rusher. I definitely do need to improve on the run game. Also just becoming a student of the game, expanding my knowledge of football in general. And
I'm going to play that answer for you again in a second, but let me focus on just what he said right there. That's strong. I'm already known as a pass rusher. I got to get better as a run stuffer. The reason why I appreciate that is if all you are is an elite pass rusher, I need to take you off the field because they're just going to run the ball at you and we're never going to get into a passing down. So it doesn't matter that you're good at rushing the passer. You've got to get us in. We can't have weak links in the run game. You've got to be on the field and you've got to help us be able to get them into a 3rd and long. And he's already saying, I got to get better in the run game. The second part of that grabbed me is his interest in learning more about the game. That an area to improve is his strategical knowledge, his X's and his O's, his ability to read the offense and know what's coming. Wait, in this formation, they normally throw a screen. So if I take off and try to get into the backfield, they're just going to throw it over my head and now I'm out of position. I need to read this. I need to know the down and distance and situations and the tendencies of the other team. That's advanced stuff. You don't always count on your defensive end, your edge rusher to know that. But if they're that cerebral as this young man is, man, is that a weapon? Now, the reason why I told you I was going to play it again, this is the kind of thing. This is where Jennifer gets really frustrated with me because I feel the need to call people out live and in the moment when your arrogance is screwing it up for everybody else. Some guy in Dallas interrupts David Bailey. I don't know if you heard that at the end, but David Bailey says, and, meaning he's getting ready to say more. And then this guy interrupts with, did you talk to Dallas? Did you talk to the Dallas Cowboys?
I'm known as a pass rusher. I definitely do need to improve on the run game. Also just becoming a student of the game, expanding my knowledge of football in general. And
let the guy finish. We're not here to hear your questions. See, what happens is you get some yahoos in the media who are so dying to get their information that they're too self-absorbed to let everybody do their jobs. They're only concerned with them doing their own job and not allowing all of us. You can ask your question. You don't need to be in a shouting match. You don't need to be that aggressive. Relax, dude. I wanted to know what else David Bailey was going to say, not whether or not he talked to the Cowboys. And then he wanted to talk about the system. You think you can fit in here? Because Cowboys do this. And he goes, yes, that's what I ran in Stanford. Thanks, buddy. That bugged me. And then, of course, if I would have been there, I admit I would have said, guys, I would have turned to everybody, guys, when he talks, you be quiet. When he's done talking, then you can ask your question. But I don't want you in my audio of him. Yes, I would have said that, and then Jennifer would have been mad at me. After the Cowboys fan, who somehow got a credential, was done talking about the Dallas Cowboys, then we moved into his abilities to move around. Because once he said, yeah, I played in that system and did that at Stanford, he was asked about the different spots and what he does on the line.
So, like, if it's like a third down, go get it, pass rushing, I'm going to go ahead and get in like a 3-point, kind of like a track stance. Now, if it's playing the run, I'm a little bit more comfortable playing in the 2-point stance, just because that's just what I've been used to. Over at Stanford, I was mostly always on the edge. I was in a 2-point stance. This year, I was sometimes in like that 4-tech, maybe like even a 3-eye. So I definitely did have to get down in a 3-point stance, and I know like I was growing over the course of whatever 7 months I was there.
That is a lot. Sometimes he's on the edge. He was talking about 2-point, 3-point. Then he said sometimes in a 4-eye, and then I think he said in the 4 technique. And then I actually think he said 3-eye, which I have to be honest. Like, I want to be your all-knowing dude that helps you. I've never heard of 3-eye in my life. I don't have any idea what a 3-eye is. I don't know. But let me tell you what he's referring to, and then that'll let you know why I'm excited about him, because of the versatility. First, he talked about the differences of what he likes to be in a 2-point stance or a 3-point stance. The point stances are... It's hilariously simple if you've never been told why it's called what. It just means how many touch points you have with the ground. A 2-point stance is you're standing. You've got left leg, right, or left foot, right foot. That's your 2 points. A 3-point stance means you're kind of more in that stance of when you're getting ready to run and track with your one arm up in the air. So you got one arm on the ground, one arm up in the air, so you can stay low and explode forward. So you're kind of doing that because you want to use a speed rush to get back there. But a 4-point stance is simply you've got your toes on the ground, and you've got your hands on the ground. So you're touching the ground on 4 points, therefore it's a 4-point stance. Well, so he's describing the different times he used what. And then he said 4 technique, and I think he did say 3-eye. So the techniques, I don't know if I've ever gone over this with you before. I know I've told you 3 technique outside shoulder of the guard, and I say that sometimes pretty fast. But the defensive line has positions. The easy way to remember it is if it's an even number, that means straight up. So you've heard the term nose guard. A true nose guard is face to face with the center. My face mask, as close as I can get it to your face mask without getting a flag for being in the neutral zone. That's a nose guard. Well, technically, according to the techniques, that's a 0 technique. The 0 technique is head up, straight up on the center. A 2 technique, which is something you really hardly ever say, but a 2 technique would be straight up on the guard. Now, a lot of times you'll hear it called a bear front. What a bear front is you have a nose guard and both of your defensive tackles are 2 techniques. Both of them are straight up right in front of the guard. So you're right there. Hey, I got my 3 guys here, and we are completely eliminating your run game with these 3 people. And I'm devoting that much to stop the run, and I'm going to scare you because you have no idea what I'm doing with my other 8 defenders. That's a story for a different day, though. So if you hear the letter I have only heard the letter I used with even numbers. And the reason why is because the odd numbers are all the outside shoulder. So Aaron Donald is the greatest 3 technique of all time. And the technique is basically counting shoulders. So the 1 technique is the outside shoulder of the center, which is kind of a misnomer because both shoulders are the outside shoulder of the center. I know it sounds a little funny, but his right shoulder is his outside shoulder going right, and his left shoulder is his outside shoulder going left, while the guard only has 1 outside shoulder, and that's the one that's on the side of the tackle. So a 3 technique is on the outside shoulder of the guard, but it doesn't tell you which guard. Could be left, could be right. But it's always the outside shoulder. That's the 3 technique. Well, the I portion is the inside shoulder of somebody. So the 4-eye is something that you'll hear a lot, especially as a run stuffer, because that just means you've moved over a little bit from the 3 technique. We're only talking about, 18 inches of separation. The 3 techniques on the outside shoulder of the guard, you move a tiny bit to the side, and now you're a 4-eye because you're on the inside shoulder of the tackle. Move a tiny bit more, you're now a 4 technique, because remember, even number means straight up, face mask to face mask. And then a 5 technique means you're on the outside shoulder of the tackle. 7 technique, you're on the outside shoulder of the tight end. And then there's a ridiculous one called a 9 technique, but no one says 9 technique. They have a different name for it. They'll go a wide 9. And a wide 9 means you're so far away, it's like you're just giving up the whole running lane. But it's almost impossible for the tackle to get out there and block you. So you do have a straight line to the quarterback. It just takes a long time to get there. So a wide 9, like you're further outside than the D gap. Letter D. A gap is simple. That's the offensive term for each side of the center's butt, is the A gap. There you go. A little bit of football stuff. But again, that's why I love David Bailey, because he's saying he's done all that stuff. And he also has the brains to do all that stuff. All right, I went a little deep there. So I have to look back. Sorry for the dead air. I got to look back at my notes and say, what was I talking about? That was comfort moving. Okay, his weight. His weight's a concern. He says he wants to get better at stuffing the run. Well, here's a way to get better at stuffing the run. Eat something.
Yeah, I played about like 249, 250 last year. Early games, maybe like 248. Just didn't really eat too much in the morning. So ideal playing weight. I don't know. I feel like I could put on a little bit more weight. I always want to get stronger. Always want to get faster. And I think the most important thing is just making sure that whatever like strength staff I'm under, I'm putting on weight, but also like maintaining my explosiveness, maintaining my speed, because that's my identity. So if losing that would just be detrimental to my game.
To me, it's just the fact that he's so cerebral, because he's already planning ahead to, as soon as I get drafted, I want to be getting in with that strength team, and I want to add good weight, but I don't want to lose my quickness. That's going to be detrimental. And he's already planning. He's already thinking about how do I get better and what do I want to do. Now you can see why I'm loving this guy, but the tape tells me he's great. But I like Ruben Bain's tape a little bit more. So I'm interested in learning more about Ruben Bain, the person, because honestly, I'm loving David Bailey so much that he's overcoming the gap that I see on tape. But the weight is a problem. I think that's a major problem. Can he put on good weight? Last one, could have been cheesy, but I loved it since I've already started to like the guy. What would you love to tell the team who drafts you now? Like if you, right now, what is the team that drafts you getting?
I want them to know that I took a good step from junior year to senior year, but I also want to know that I feel like I'm not really scratching the surface as a football player that I can become. I feel like there's just so much stuff I can work on. I can become a great player. So I feel like taking that next step, getting underneath a scheme and a coaching staff that can push me to become a great player. Like I feel like they can bring out a lot more in me.
Wow. I want to go somewhere that's going to push me, like going to make me better. Meaning this guy's already he's asking to be coached. That's a testament. See what I mean? Now are you with me? Like you might have thought, yeah, I think David Bailey's good. And then you hear this stuff from him. All right, last one from David Bailey isn't really about David Bailey. This one's more for you that are ASU fans, or even those of you that are U of A fans. When you think about the race to expenditures and things that are going on, in order to get the best players, you got to spend the money on NIL. But at the same time, you need the best facilities. And I had never seen this before he mentioned it. But he kept talking about the walkthrough room. And finally somebody asked, what is the walkthrough room? So I looked it up. I looked up the Texas Tech walkthrough room. It's ingenious. It's ingenious. You have the football building and you have a turf field on the ground floor with the weight room on the ground floor. And then overlooking the weight room on the second floor is the walkthrough room. The walkthrough room is enormous. It's a huge room. It's almost like it still looks kind of empty to the point where this could have, it's like this was an empty room in a warehouse where, okay, we're going to put the offices here eventually, but right now it's just slab floor and, you know, it's that spacious and you've got a couple wall supports or ceiling supports in there. And that was it just a little while ago. And even though that's not what happened, I'm just describing you what was once a wide open space. And they put a turf field down. And then one huge wall that goes from floor to ceiling, but not necessarily wall to wall. Now, when I say, wait, a wall that doesn't go wall to wall, meaning you could walk to the left and the right of this big wall. You could walk behind this big wall. But it is from floor to ceiling. And the turf runs right into the wall, but on the wall is really a massive television. It's a massive scoreboard type of television. And what Texas Tech does is they will put plays on that television from field level. And now you, as the linebacker or as the edge rusher, you are standing there on a 20-foot turf field, 30-foot turf field, whatever it was, staring at the play kind of from your vantage point. It's not full-on virtual reality, but you're standing there with a pretty good look at what that team's play is. And then you're learning to react to, okay, what would your check be? What would your situation be? Here's the gap. So we're going to run into here. This is maybe where we're going to run a twist. And you can walk through things that are looking exactly as you're going to see them on game day. It's cool looking and very intelligently done. And I would assume it's got virtual reality capabilities. And if it doesn't, it should pretty soon. That was top-notch stuff. I loved everything about listening to David Bailey. Hopefully you enjoyed that because that was kind of a weird deep dive on a 2.5-hour show or whatever today's show is going to end up being with Bobby Mack included, and then me doing a small D-backs dive and then a really deep dive into one kid that really impressed me at the Combine. And we've got a lot more to talk about with the Combine coming up next week. It's time for versus Vegas. We might as well just keep this little streak going here. Yeah, well, let's do some dancing. There we go. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. I think every gambler in the world would take 2-1 every night. And that's what we did, 2-1. We got our 3-game parlay correct, but we split the other 2 games. So that's where we got the 2-1. I took San Antonio minus the 7.5 against the Jackets against the Raptors. I think I saw Toronto and was thinking hockey and then thought about my hometown Blue Jackets. San Antonio favored by 7.5. They only won by 3. So they won, but they didn't cover. So we lose. They win, which makes me hate the Spurs even more. Told you I did not like the Celtics trying to cover 3.5, or the Celtics only getting 3.5 on the road at Denver on the back end of the back-to-back. Denver blew them out 103-84. We got that game easily. And then our 3-game parlay, because the juice was bad, we took Nebraska minus the 12.5 against Maryland. Barely got it. Nebraska won by 13. And we took Vandy on the money line over Georgia. Doors won by 8. And we took Nova on the money line over Butler. And Villanova won by 9, 82-73. So we got the 3 games right. But that only counted as 1 game because I knew it was unfair to go with the amount of juice I was laying on those games as individual. Of course, it is fun to say I went 4-1, but went 2-1 yesterday. That puts the slump at 56-62. So we're getting a little closer to evening that thing out. Today, I'm a little embarrassed at myself. I know this is a bad idea, but I have my criteria, and the games that fit that criteria in hockey are immense. I have 8 hockey games. I have total of 11 games just on an arbitrary Thursday night. That's way too many. But this is what I got for you. Houston's on the back end of a back-to-back. They flew to Orlando. We'll take the Magic plus the 1.5. College hoop. I got Rhode Island on the money line against St. Bonaventure. Really good positive juice on that. And I think Michigan State is being given way too many points. They're on the road at Purdue. Going to be a huge game tonight. But Michigan State getting 7.5, that's too much. I think Purdue wins, but I think Michigan State doesn't let them cover. We'll take the Spartans plus the 7.5. And now to the hockey. Hockey. New Jersey's on the back end of a back-to-back. We'll take the Penguins on the money line. Philly's on the back end of a back-to-back. We'll take the Rangers on the money line. Toronto's on the back end of the Florida back-to-back at Tampa Bay and then at the Panthers. But the juice is a little out of whack, so we won't take it on the money line. We'll take the Panthers to cover the puck line of 1.5. Tampa Bay is on the back end of a back-to-back that they just had against Toronto. Now they're on the road at Carolina. We'll take the Hurricanes on the money line. St. Louis on the money line against Seattle, who's coming off the back end of a back-to-back. Colorado's on the back end of a back-to-back, so we're going to take Minnesota on the money line there. And Edmonton is up against the Kings. Both teams were on the back end of a back-to-back. What's weird is Edmonton's the one that doesn't have to travel, not the Kings. Kings were on the road. They went down to L.A. Edmonton was on the road too, but they were just in Anaheim. So I like the Oilers on the money line there. Wow, that's a lot there. So we're taking the Orlando Magic and the Michigan State Spartans plus the points. Rhode Island in an upset on the money line. And hockey money line, Penguins, Rangers, Hurricanes, Blues, Wild, Oilers. With Florida having to cover the puck line of 1.5. Sound credits today. Thanks a lot to this. Where did I write that? The Combine Talk from Chat Sports. Chat Sports is some YouTube page I had never heard of, but they had the David Bailey posted, and I really liked it, so I got it from Chat Sports. And then all of the Diamondback sound I got is from the 12 News YouTube page. Very well done. Very easy to navigate the 12 News YouTube page if you're interested. That does it for today's version of Doug Franz Unplugged, presented by Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass. Please get a hold of the event schedule and know what we've got going on. A lot of stuff going on. This Saturday, head over to Slice House by Tony Gemignani, which is on Pecos and Val Vista and the 202. Saturday at about 11 o'clock. I'll be getting there at about 11:30 or noon, something like that. I'd love to say, as soon as we get there, everybody, let's get our big Unplugged Army picture taken with Tony Gemignani and find out if that's really how you say his name. And if he goes, yeah, like I do every time. Then I'm headed over to 100 Mile Brewing Company right after that, only for a quick beer, maybe 2, tops. And that's Pints for Pat. Excited for that. So that's coming up for Saturday. Then we've got huge event. I need you. Get your tickets at FordChampionship.com or volunteer at FordChampionship.com. for the LPGA Tour stop that is at Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass. And then on April 1st, Play Like a Pro Day, where we will set up the course similar to one of the days of competition for the LPGA stars. You'll be able to compare your golf game to the greats of the LPGA, and you get to do it for only $50. It's only $50 to play, but you got to email me, Doug at DougFranzUnplugged.com. We have 2 foursomes left. That's it. I'd love to fill them. So feel free to book the whole foursome or just to say, well, I'm in, and be a part of it. Whole sponsor with Parker & Sons Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical. 6022-REPAIR. Call 602, then REPAIR for Parker & Sons. Bell's Nashville Kitchen is the original sponsor of Doug Franz Unplugged, home of the Nashville Hot Chicken Sandwich, the best sandwich in the history of the state. Santan Ford, 202 in Val Vista. I am Santan Ford. Burrito Express, the greatest breakfast burrito you've ever had in your life. Penny Royal Promotion, slap a logo on anything. And Goodyear Fit Body Boot Camp, inspiring fitness and changing lives every day. And of course, the Frosty Fusion. Did I get that right? The Thin Mint Frosty Fusion. I didn't. At your local Wendy's. Come on, Al. When am I going to get that?
Doug, thank you so much. My best to your listeners, and keep up the work on Doug Franz Unplugged.